Today we're going to be talking about the best teas for digestive issues, insomnia, anti-aging and weight loss. You may or may not know that I love tea. Tea for me is like wine. There are so many different kinds and it's so fun and exciting to delve into the world of tea. Now, being a Brit, I obviously love a cup of Builders, as we call it, just, bog standard black tea. But I have spent the last 20 years exploring every other kind of tea, tisane, and infusion. And so today, in this video, I want to go through prescriptions. So what is the best tea for the following four things that I'm going to be covering? So number one, what is the best tea for digestion and digestive issues? 2, what is the best tea for insomnia or not sleeping very well? 3, what is the best anti-aging tea? And 4, what is the best tea for weight release? So we're going to be getting into that today. Stick around to the end because you may well really want to hear what the last one is, the weight release tea. And here's the thing, you're going to see a lot on the internet about skinny teas and teas for this and teas for that. And as is the case with everything that I do, I like to follow the science, I like to have the data, I like to know that there's properly conducted research to support the information that I'm giving you today. So super excited to not delve into the delicious world of beautiful teas to enhance you and your body, but also let's really get into each different tea and the benefits that it's going to have for you. Okay, first let's talk about digestion, the best tea for digestion or digestive issues. So if you have IBS, there has been some research to show that peppermint tea can actually be very, very helpful. And I highly recommend it. So with your peppermint tea, you can either buy, there's endless dried, peppermint tea bags, dried peppermint. You don't have to look too far to find that in your local grocery store. So you can get that. You can also, I actually like to use fresh peppermint leaves. And I just put a bunch of them, like a huge handful. I actually grow them into my garden, which is super useful. I pop it in a teapot. Rolling water just off the boil goes in, and I leave it for about 5 minutes, and it's absolutely delicious. You could sweeten it a little bit if you want to, but it can be very, very helpful. So if you have IBS or more severe digestive issues, highly recommended that you start including mint tea. And you can drink mint tea throughout the day. You can just sip on it. You can make a lovely big cup of it and put it in your reusable tea mug and just sip on it all day long, but particularly after tea. Now, there's another tea, and this is actually technically an Ayurvedic tea, which is known as CCF which stands for cumin, coriander, and fennel tea. And you can buy this online, and I'll put a little link below. There's many different places that you can buy it online. And this is known to be a wonderful and powerful digestive tea. Again, something that you can brew. It does take a little bit more brewing, so you want to put a couple of tablespoons in a heavy saucepan with about 2 to 3 cups of water and gently simmer it for about 15 minutes, then strain it. And then you can either have it cool or you can have it warm, and it has a very aromatic taste. So that is something that you might want to try, and it can be very soothing to your digestive system. And then finally, in this category, if you wanted to buy a tea that had a lot of this in it, this is a tea by Paka Teas, which they have some really wonderful teas. And this one here, it's right in the front, is a delicious blend of fennel, sweet fennel, roasted chicory, so it gives it a little bit of sweetness, and cardamom, which is lovely and warming, a lovely spice, a really anti-aging spice. So that's a nice after dinner tea that you could take with you. What I like about tea bags, I don't always like tea bags, but in this case it's super useful, is that you can take, one of these tea bags, and you can pop it in your purse when you go out for dinner and then just pull that out. Instead of having a dessert, you can just say, I'd love to, just have some hot water. And then you have a lovely, soothing, gently sweet nutty tea, and you can ask for a little bit of fruit. I find that to be very, very useful with my clients. Big recommendation is that they do that after, always have tea bags in their purse for after dinner, particularly when they are out and about. So those are my recommendations for digestion, to help with your digestion. Okay, so next tea is for insomnia or sleeplessness. Now, there is no magical tea that's like, oh, here we go, this is going to drop me off to sleep in a hot second. But the science bears out that honestly, the best tea or infusion that you can drink for sleep to make you sleepy is definitely a blend that has chamomile in it. Now, you can have just plain chamomile flowers, very, very inexpensive. Buy them online, steep them for about 5 minutes, and then you have a really simple, incredibly inexpensive chamomile tea. Or, again, and I just had these to hand, this Pucker brand, and I do like this one because if we look at the ingredients at the back here, and hopefully that's in focus and you can see that, they have, the top ingredient is oat flowering tops, which is delicious and very helpful for sleep. Then we have chamomile, then we have licorice root that makes it slightly sweet, lavender flower, beautiful for stress relief, lime flower, tulsi leaf, and valerian root. So I was looking for a tea that had everything that I wanted in one tea, and this is where Pucker is really, really good at doing that, and it's actually really delicious as well. And teas that do have the licorice in make them slightly sweet, so no added sweetening needed. So go for either a plain chamomile, very, very inexpensive if you want something very inexpensive, and you can just buy the dried chamomile flowers, brew it for about 5 minutes with these infusions, which we're talking herbs here. It's technically an infusion. Water just off a rolling boil, 5 minutes, and if you go a little bit over, it really doesn't matter, and you're good to go. Okay, now things are getting a little bit more interesting. We're moving away from the really simple herbal infusions, and we're talking, this is the anti-aging category. And this is really powerful stuff. So listen up, and then we're going to get to the weight loss teas or metabolism boosting teas at the end. So this is my favorite blend, and I was so excited to share this with you. So lemon verbena tea, and I want to show you what it looks like. Sometimes it's known as the vervain tea, but it's basically a herb. Leaves that basically they grow sometimes wild. They grow wild in Europe and parts of England as well. You can see it's a leaf that's just dried. I have a massive bag of it here, and it has a lovely, lovely lemony taste. It's delicious. I had to buy it dried because here in Los Angeles, it doesn't grow wild, and I can't find it in the markets either. So it's easy. So I buy it dried. Now, it is highly anti-inflammatory. Very often it's used actually in sports recovery for that very reason. And there's also some science to show that it can be really good for skin, for anti-inflammation in the skin. So that's why I've connected, or blended, I should say, these two different teas together to create this really beautiful anti-aging blend. So we've got the lemon verbena, and then what I'm blending it with is hibiscus tea. And this one in particular, I found that I'm absolutely obsessed with because it's raspberry and hibiscus, and it has a really beautiful, beautiful taste. And so what you want to do, and I get an old tea tin. Where's my tin? Here's an old tin. I keep all the old tins that I've had over the years because I know that I'm going to make some blends myself. And so it keeps really well in a tin. And what I would recommend that you do, so first off, actually, before I show you about the blending, hibiscus tea, you definitely want to make hibiscus tea a part of your each and every day for anti-aging, for health reasons, and actually for fat metabolism. You absolutely do want to have that. And if you have high blood pressure, I recommend having about 2 cups of really strong hibiscus tea every single day. Studies have shown that that can be as effective as medications for blood pressure. I mean, that it's astonishing. So make this your daily tea for anti-aging, for anti-inflammatory, for your skin, for bringing your blood pressure down. And hibiscus has so many other health benefits too. So what I recommend you do, you can either get a blend like this. I just love the taste of the raspberry and hibiscus, or you can just get plain hibiscus, dried hibiscus leaves, flowers, excuse me. They're very, very easy to find online and relatively inexpensive. And I recommend you make a blend of about 2/3 of the hibiscus and 1/3 of the lemon verbena. So just put them in a bowl or a jug, mix it up and put it in a little tin or a can or a large can, and then you've just got it there for you every day. Then when you're ready to blend it, this is the kind of teapot that I really like for my infusions because it's so incredibly useful. Actually, I just want to show you right now how it works. I'm not going to put the tea in because I haven't brewed the tea. Of course, when you brew the tea, it's a beautiful pink color. But imagine that I brewed my tea there, and then let's just see if I can, I'll try it with this. I think it's going to work well with this. So I'm going to just use a little glass beaker here. So what you do with this and most of the herbal infusions that we've just been chatting about is you're going to put water from a rolling boil and you're going to steep it. Okay, so you would want about 2 heaping tablespoons in here, water, rolling boil, steep it for about 5 minutes, could go a little bit over that. And then what I love about this is, can you see here how, there you go. It's such an easy, beautiful way, and I use this for so many of my different herbal infusions and my teas. So I'll link to this underneath the video. So this is your anti-aging, anti-inflammatory magical combo. Lemon verbena and hibiscus. And in this case, I've used raspberry hibiscus. Okay, so saving my favorite section to last. Really it's my favorite because I'm a huge green tea enthusiast, and green tea can be anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, and it can significantly help with weight release and fat metabolism. So and it's so delicious. But I just want to take you, I'll do a whole nother video just diving into green tea because it's such a, well, tea. So essentially tea comes from one bush, the Camellia sinensis bush, whether it's a black tea, a oolong tea, a green tea, or a white tea, or a matcha tea. They all come from the same plant, essentially. But how they're grown, how they're processed, how they're oxidized, turns it into whether it is a black tea, green tea, oolong tea, white tea, etc. So I don't want to get too much into the weeds of that in this video because it's a bit beyond the scope of this video. I really want to focus in on the benefits, as I promised you, of the weight, the weight release and metabolism boosting benefits of tea. So I don't say this lightly because, again, there's so many skinny tea nonsense out there and you really don't want to waste your money with that. I just want you to know that buying the highest quality green tea you can and preparing it properly is exactly what you want to do. You don't need those skinny teas. And I really highly recommend that you do start developing a taste and an interest in green tea. Now, I'm going to try and make this as simple as I possibly can. First off, green tea, and particularly matcha tea that most of you will be drinking or at least will have heard of, which is the whole leaf that is ground into a fine powder that looks like this, right? Matcha tea has got a lot of really good science behind it boosting metabolism. And so I really do recommend that you enjoy your matcha tea. Now with your matcha tea, you want to go for a good quality matcha grown in Japan. And there are so many different kinds, but most of my green teas I get from Japan or sometimes Taiwan. And I want to make sure they are organic as well. And so with your matcha, there's a very specific way of preparing matcha, and you do need to do it properly. So there's plenty of videos online on that. I'll probably do a video sometime about my favorite way to prepare matcha. But you do need to prepare it. You need to sift it. You need to whisk it. You need to, the water cannot be too hot. You don't want to burn it. And of course, you can enjoy a beautiful matcha latte by putting a steamed plant milk in there as well. So that is matcha, and I will do a separate video on how to prepare a really good matcha tea. But most of you will know how to do that, or you can look it up. Now, let's talk about the different teas, because here's the thing. If you were to get a green tea bag, for the most part, I really do not recommend using a tea bag. Such as you get, many of the brands do tea bags. I've rarely, if ever, found a tea bag that yet to date, I'm open to suggestions, one that tastes really good. I think it would be the difference if I was a wine lover by saying the difference between a bottle of cheap wine that probably, I'm not a wine drinker, and a fine, beautiful wine. Well, if I am going to invest in my health and giving myself a beautiful treat, I don't go to the coffee shop where, the teas and coffees are upwards of, $4 or $5. So I would rather invest in buying beautiful teas that I can enjoy and treat myself every day. And so you want to buy loose leaf teas for sure. So you want the loose leaves, okay? And the real key is that you want to prepare it properly. And so whatever the green tea is, whether it is matcha, which I've just said is the whole green leaf, or oolong tea, which I absolutely love. I should do it in this order, actually. Oolong tea, which is a little bit more oxidized than green tea, which is why it's a darker color and it has also a richer flavor. And actually is a prebiotic. It's really good for your gut as well. Or green tea, which is less oxidized, and this is a fine, beautiful sencha tea. Or white tea. I haven't got any white tea here, but white tea is the least processed, the least oxidized. So that's the order that it would go in. It would go black, then oolong, then green, then white. But I am highlighting matcha, oolong, and green tea today. And so you can drink, about 3 to 4 cups a day for all of the health benefits and the weight loss benefits too. So you want to really enjoy that. Teas do contain some compounds in them that can leach iron from your food. And so I recommend, particularly if you are if you're still, getting periods, if you're not in menopause, it's not such a worry if you're in menopause and beyond. But if low iron is an issue for you, I recommend drinking tea, any kind of tea, whether it's black, any variety of tea. Drink it in between meals, not with your meal, but drink it in between meals. At least leave an hour after you've had your meal. Okay. Now, the most important thing with your loose leaf teas is that you brew them correctly. Because if you don't brew them correctly, then it'll ruin the tea and it will taste bitter, and it's just not a good idea. So when you buy a tea, and these are Japanese teas, and I'll link to these underneath the video, as with all these teas, it's no interest or affiliate links or anything. They just happen to be ones that I've got that I'll link just in case you're interested, but you may find a brand that you prefer. And I'm always open to suggestions. But I just want to show you here that you always want to look at the brewing directions very carefully. And if a tea does not have brewing directions, then it's a bit of a red flag, because I think any, really good tea brand should be telling you exactly how to brew it. And it's pretty detailed. So this oolong says, it's 90 to 95 degrees centigrade and 1 minute and 30 seconds to brew. That's it. 1 minute and 30 seconds. Trust me, according to the directions, you absolutely want to do that. And I want to show you as an example with a green tea, same brand, but it's different directions. Here it is about 80 degrees centigrade, it's less. So oolong needs to be a little, black tea is on a rolling boil. So if you're doing black tea, rolling boil, and you brew for about 4 or 5 minutes. Oolong is a little bit, lower in temperature, but only 1.5 minutes. And green tea, which is very, very delicate, particularly the sencha tea, is 60 to 90 seconds. That's it. More than that, the tea is going to turn bitter and it won't taste nice. And so you want this beautiful, sweet, grassy flavor. And once you get into teas, you'll really appreciate these beautiful flavors. And some teas you can brew multiple times with these loose leaf teas. So you get maybe 3 cups of tea or 3 brewings just from one set of leaves. So you actually, even though you're spending because you're investing in really good quality Japanese organic or Taiwanese organic tea, it's actually you're going to spend way less than going to the coffee shop with very low quality teas for the most part. And in terms of how to brew them, I recommend getting a teapot like this, particularly for something like oolong, because you want the leaves to be able to have space to really unfurl, and so the flavor really infuses the water. And if it's something like a sencha or a black tea with smaller leaves, then I very often use these little tea bags like this, and I make my own tea bags, which is just fun and so easy and inexpensive. And of course, again, I've barely even touched the surface because there are hundreds of varieties of sencha tea, of oolong tea, of white tea that we haven't even covered today. But if you get one thing from this video in terms of boosting your metabolism and weight loss, please make green tea, but really proper, good quality, loose leaf or loose powder green tea part of your everyday regimen. I hope you enjoyed that video. Look, I just want to show you this. Look at the color. This is the hibiscus and the lemon verbena. Look at that. It's so beautiful. The color, that ruby red color. Oh, and the smell of it, the scent of it is so beautiful. And just to think, that is medicine, right? In a cup, in a mug, that this is the color, the beautiful color that serves to help bring your blood pressure down. So lots of information in this video, and if you like this kind of information and you want more and you want me to delve even deeper into each tea topic, then let me know in the comments below. As you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about tea and how it can really benefit you and your health and your weight loss journey. So I'm super excited to be able to share this information with you. Leave me comments and leave me recommendations. As I said, there's a lot of tea lovers out there, so I'd love to know what you're enjoying and what's really working with you. And don't forget to subscribe. There's always lots of videos coming your way about holistic health and natural health and keeping you in the best shape of your life, particularly for women over 45. I will see you next time. Cheers.